For the hometown crowd, and we've got it for you tonight, live from Brooklyn, New York. Last outing for Brooklyn, they won that game against the Knicks in New York.
And guys, they could have won that game on the strength of their offense alone. It was that good.
And most impressive when you do it on the road like that. They just kept coming at them wave after wave, and they really kept the crowd on mute in that one.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's check out who's on the floor, courtesy of Gatorade. And Golden State looking at who they've got. .24 seconds left to play in the first. In the corner, Iguodala with it. And the go-ahead bucket, no good. Here's Sloan. He had 10 points in the win against the Knicks in New York.
You know, and in watching that game, he did a really nice job of passing the basketball, scoring, and setting up his teammates.
A nice first quarter of play. We've seen plenty. And here's Freak on his experience as a one-and-done college player. Well, with more and more freshmen, Clark, making the jump to the pros, we can expect to hear more stories like this, I'm sure.
Well, without question, Kevin, that's the case and the landscape that we find ourselves in. But, you know, there's something to be said for developing all 4 years in college when that's the best route for an individual player. Nowadays, I think, unfairly so, there's a ton of pressure on young guys sometimes to leave prematurely. We'll see if Freak's decision pays off for him long term.
And we got a close game here as we get back to the second quarter. And from Brooklyn guys, what jumps out to you stat-wise?
Defense paying huge dividends for them through the first.
Excellent hustle, and you know the coach has to be pleased with that effort at the defensive end.
King in at the three. Robinson is out there with Young. Then it's Donald Sloan. And it's Bogdanovich in at shooting guard. That's the Nets 5 as we get into the second quarter. Thompson with the bucket.
That feed by Iguodala, a really good example of his passing ability.
And Andre Iguodala, guys, one of the most unselfish players in the league. I mean, that unselfishness for me, too, is what was put to a test last season as the former All-Star was asked by his coach, Steve Kerr, to come off the bench for the Warriors. And you know what? He did it without complaint, putting the team first.
The Nets making a switch here. Lopez is checked in. And the Warriors also making a change. Green's checked in. There's a screen by Robinson. And Sloan kicks to Freak. The shot no good. And Golden State will come the other way. And for Iguodala, some have said he's unselfish, Clark, to a fault.
Yeah, and you know, a great athlete and ball handler, I think he could be much more aggressive looking to attack off the dribble. He's really unique, though, a player who puts his emphasis on the defensive end and does a really good job at that end of the floor.
Here's Thompson. Drops in the breakaway layup. And it's a 4-point Warrior lead.
I love his shot selection today. He set the bar for the rest of the team.
Sloan passes to King from deep three-point range.
And just because you can make it from outside doesn't mean you need to live there.
Not that far out anyway, Greg. I mean, he can work for a better shot than that.
Iguodala gets the bucket.
And after that ragged first quarter, they're getting some momentum, some confidence. Nice flow.
Yeah, and, you know, the game of basketball, as you well know, Greg, and guys, is a game.
The clock runs out, and we're heading to halftime. Warriors ahead as they end the period on a 9-0 run.
Kevin, we have...
Well, both sides have assessed what they need. And the Nets making a change here. Kings checked in. And then for Golden State, Spates comes in for Andrew Bogut. And it's Iguodala in for Harrison Barnes. Nets were the hottest team and story a few years back, certainly, but last season they were put up for sale, surprisingly to some, Clark, midway through the year.
Yeah, that was odd timing given the new arena and rebranding. I mean, you would think after all that effort to rebuild the team, you would see it through.
So for the Golden State Warriors right now, it's the Splash Brothers, Curry and Thompson. They're in the backcourt. Iguodala and Green are set at the forward spots, and it's Spates in at the center position.
And defensively, they've gotten a little careless, not playing with the same focus we saw in the first. And for the Nets being put up for sale, a big part of it was they were a team that was supposed to compete for titles. And since the move to Brooklyn, they have had trouble going deep in the playoffs.
Here's King. Out of bounds, Golden State takes possession.
And looking now at some of the numbers for Brook Lopez. This last month, he's been positively spectacular. 5th in blocks, 12th in scoring, and he's among the top 15 in rebounding. Just a powerful presence in the paint.
Yeah, he's been dominant as a shot blocker all year. He is a dangerous force inside.
Bogdanovich, he's checked in for Brooklyn. Donald Sloan comes in for Jarrett Jack.
And you know, with Brooklyn, I don't think anybody wants to take over a team in a rebuild mode. I mean, that's what the Nets seem to be looking at for the next few seasons. They had their shot and went all in with some of their decisions. Unfortunately, came up short.
So we see the Warriors taking the game.